Hey guys, Cam315 back at it with another video for you guys, and I am back with another episode review of SpyxFamily. And man, we started the episode off. The first half was happy, funny, typical SpyxFamily comedic moments with Anya. And then by the back half, and especially at the end of the episode, it's completely flipped on its head when you get the Loid backstory being revealed and stuff like that. So regardless, it's crazy that this is it's happening and what's happening, and seemingly enough we're getting to the Loid backstory to explain how Loid became who he is today, which also has to wonder, like, and maybe at some point maybe we're gonna get Yora's backstory as to how she got in the assassin business and stuff like that, because we have seen bits and pieces of her past in terms of her and her brother Yuri, and we knew at that time she was also an assassin too. So I do wonder if we're gonna get her backstory as well, explain why she ended up being an assassin and how she became an assassin. So yeah, but the first half of the episode was just comedic, funny business that we see. Obviously, the main teacher at the school is like, no, you guys are not elegant enough to do what you guys need to be doing. You guys are being late to freaking class. You guys are not turning your homework in on time. So that's going to result in tone twist bolts. We then get introduced to this one character who, she just started handing out the bolts out to these kids. And you have it to where you have the one gigantic big kid from last season who was in the dodgeball tournament, right? And he comes up, he's like, guys, it's terrible. We got this lady, she's back. And they're like, who are you talking about? And I forgot the lady's name. But it basically says, like, no, this lady, she will give you a tone twist bolt for the most little minute detail that you miss out, right? And, we see how, she ended up, like, doing that. Like, first things first, she catches a kid smoking. Now, I've never seen a private school type of thing have it to where you can smoke on campus. So that one actually, I would say that person absolutely deserved that one. The other two people that she gave bolts to, I guess they were like planning some, violence, and she's like, you're gonna get the bolt for being violent and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this freaking lady? So you have that. So you have that happen. And then she tells our main teacher for Anya's class, like, I'm very excited to meet your students. So she meets the students, she lines them all up, right? Bro, she gives a one bolt to one kid that has freaking potato chips in his backpack. Man, I can't have a snack? Like, God, we're handing out bolts because you can't have potato chips in your backpack. Okay. She hands out another bolt. It's funny. She hands out another bolt to somebody for not having their handkerchief. And I'm just like, huh? But albeit, it kind of makes some sense, because the backstory she explains is the fact that, well, this kid went to the restroom to go wash his hands, and because he didn't have his handkerchief, he thought the bright idea was to wipe his hands across his pants. And obviously people came out of it thinking he peed his pants. Now, here's one thing. Okay, understandable. Handkerchief, yada, 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 fine. Why is there no paper towels in the bathroom to wash his hands? Or why is there not any towels to wash the hands? I understand this, and it's kind of like an era where it's like probably like the 1970s, the 1970s or something like that, maybe 1960, either 1960s, 1970s, like that type of era, right? But regardless, I'm like, maybe I gotta look it up. Maybe there were paper towels. Maybe there weren't paper towels back in those days. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to just come up with things, right? Maybe 1980s at the latest. But I'm just like, why is there no paper towels in the bathroom? Okay. Handkerchiefs, right? So this freaks Damien out. Now, he was making fun of Anya and the others about getting bolts and everything. And his buddies are like, hey, man, if we get a bolt, hey, we're going to walk around the school in our underwears, right? Now, Damien's afraid of doing that because he's going to embarrass himself. But also, too, if he gets a bolt, he has this fear that his dad will never talk to him again. And Anya, being the telepathic girl that she is, overhears this and she gives up her freaking handkerchief for him because she thinks that she has a handkerchief, a second one. Albeit, yeah, she took the Loid approach of always being prepared for worst case scenario, but not really. So when she gets up, she legitimately only has freaking Bond's kibble come out, dog food. And obviously she gets, emotional over this and everything. And, what's its face, and because she's thinking like, oh crap, albeit I helped second son because and everything, and it won't hurt the mission, Dad's gonna be mad at me. So Damien was gonna stick up for her and say like, hey, this isn't my handkerchief. But Lady was already like, yeah, I figured it probably wasn't. Like, and she basically said like, moment he explains the truth, I'm gonna both give them both bolts, right? And I'll give them 2 bolts. And Anya overhearing this is like, grabs Damien and is like, no, it's not worth it, right? And Damien does say like, okay, fine, I owe you for this, I'll get you like a cake or something. Anya goes home and she's like, hey, second son is getting me cake. And Loid's like, great, that's fantastic, you guys are getting along. And then he's like, what's that? And she's like, oh, it's a tontiless bolt. Loid is just like, huh? And he's just like, this man passes out, bro. This man Loid passes the fuck out. I was absolutely cracking up, bro. And then this is when we get the sad part. So we get Loid's backstory. We get his backstory and we get understanding. So we see Loid. He's got 3 other friends and they're playing, I guess you can say, soldier, right? And we see that his friends all want to be in the army. Especially the fact that tensions are going high and everything and stuff like that. Now, they do come across, some of these workers like, man, you don't want to be in no damn army. You guys don't need to be worried about that and everything. And you have this old man saying like, man, screw that. They need to be in the army because, at any point, the East can attack us. And stuff like that. So Loid gets home. We see his mom and his father. His dad is pissed off because he's home late. And Loid is like, well, I went and played with my friends. And he's like, you don't need to be playing with your friends. You need to be worried about your studies. And he's like, what the heck's that? And he's like, toy gun, right? And basically Loid's dad is like, you need to stop worrying about trying to be in the army. Like, you need to worry about your studies more than that. But Loid is like, but I want to be a soldier. And he's like, no, you don't need to be worried about that. And sadly, Loid's father, well, he's not the best one, I guess you can say, because he actually hits Loid and he slaps him. Loid's mom is like, honey, why are you doing this and everything? Loid obviously runs off to his room and everything. And you just hear his father's like, you need to stop spoiling him. He needs to be more worried about his studies and not worry about being a soldier or going to war or stuff like that. So several days pass. They go by this old lady who has like croquettes and makes croquettes. And they go help out, other people for their, for their celebration, for basically like, I guess you can say their festival. So then when Loid gets back home, he asks, so when we find out that his father is actually going to be going away, apparently he was going to go to the border, and it may seem the reason why Loid's father was acting the way he acted and why he doesn't want him to be a soldier is because maybe he has something to do with being in the army or something like that, or some sort of negotiator, right? Because we find out like tensions are still not doing too good, but in a weird way there's kind of like a ceasefire or stuff like that. And you just have it where some people, they have the opinion like, nothing's gonna freaking happen. So it is what it is, right? And you just have it where Loid's father says, hey, I'm gonna be going away. I'm gonna be going near the border, right? I'll be back. And this is when Loid kind of tells a white lie and says, hey, Dad, could you give me some money? I want to go get this book from the library, right? And his dad pricks up. He's like, yes, I'm glad that you finally understand. Don't worry, son. You go use this money, get the book, and when I come back, we can read it together, and we can go to the festival. I'm glad that you're applying yourself for this. And when Loid sees this, he's kind of like, oh. So we later find out the next day he uses that money to go buy himself a toy gun. But when he goes to the base area that they play at, he knows what he did was wrong. And he knows that he lied and he used his dad's money to go buy him a toy gun. And he's like, and he tells his friend, he's like, hey, I'm not feeling too good. I'm gonna go. And they're like, oh, okay. So he leaves the toy gun there. He goes back to the croquette lady's, stand, and he basically asks a question. He's like, hey, do you think I should be a soldier? And and is the East bad? And basically, the lady's like, well, I have family in the East, so, they're not bad people, right? And also, the croquette lady does say, like, honestly, I would rather like to see you making croquettes than wanting to become a soldier. And it's kind of the whole thing of, like, you've already had Loid have two adults essentially tell him, like, bro, it's not worth it. And it's kind of one of those things in real life terms, like, you don't want to be in war. You don't want to go to war because war is not good. It is not a good thing. Like, I myself, I don't want to go to war. I never want to go to war. Like, I know my dad, he served in the military. I don't think he actually was involved in a war, but he was stationed potentially go to a war. But they never, said like his station needed to go. His station needed to go to war, right? But you get the point. Like, war is not a good thing, and people don't like to go to war. Like, you hear people who are maybe still World War II survivors or even Vietnam War survivors, right? They have PTSD from that shit because the shit they seen over there was damn near awful. And they hope to never ever see it again. Or never be a part of something like that ever again. And even in today's society, where the real worlds and stuff like that, you see how all wars between countries and governments and stuff like that, it affects just regular civilian people. Like, what's currently going on in the war right now. Like, frick, Russia and the Ukraine war has been going on for like 3 years now. And it's still going on. Obviously, you have other wars like the Gaza, Hamas thing, which I think recently just got a ceasefire. But you got all these wars going on around the world today. And it's not cool because it's these petty squabbles between governments. And it only affects the regular common day people. They can't even live in peace because you have warmongering government officials, for whatever reason, trying to go to war today and stuff like, or go and things like that. And it's bad. And you get probably one of the most bone-chilling freaking endings to an episode yet. And good God, man. You think Loid basically asks this lady, like, because he feels bad, he feels bad for lying to his father, and he's like, hey, is it okay if I work a bit and maybe make $10? And she's like, I don't know why you need it, but all right, I guess. And then he gets up, or then you hear of an explosion happening. And it happens at the base, the little abandoned base facility where his friends were at. So think about two things. If Loid did not leave and he stayed there playing with his friends, that missile that launched there would have killed him and his friends. So his friends are dead. His friends are clearly dead. Loid would have been dead if he didn't have a consciousness of guilt, and he left, right? So that happened, right? And then when that happened, another freaking missile drops. Boom. Right in front of Loid. Knocks out. And you hear on the radio saying like, oh, the East has invaded, and everything. Wastalis and the army's there and everything. So I can only suggest too, his father also probably died as well, because clearly tensions must have died, or clearly the peace died out, and Astanya made their move, and the East made the move, and they're like, and just looking at the next episode preview, shit's gonna get crazy, man. I was absolutely blown away. This honestly might be my favorite episode of SpyxFamily, just for the back half alone. So, great episode of SpyxFamily. Definitely can't wait to see where the next episode goes, and yeah, definitely intrigued to see where Loid's backstory is gonna go. It definitely looks like, in next week's episode, it's gonna be when he's finally in the army and he's realizing like, maybe my father was right. But obviously we know what Loid ended up becoming. We see why he wants to try to bring peace as best he can. And if it's to get away and it's to get rid of government officials, he'll very much do that to bring peace to both countries. So, yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get more SpyxFamily content or any other anime content I upload to the channel. But till then, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day or your night when you're watching this video. Till then, guys, peace.